My stories are memories, and memories are stories. Both exist simultaneously, side by side, together. There are your personal stories in the surface of your mind, and there are deeper from your superficial stories. There are collective stories, the story of a society, the story of a family, the entire genealogy comes from this point. And people have called it collective subconscious. Just below your superficial mind is a personal subconscious. The surface of the mind is the center, is the conscious. If the surface of the mind is the conscious, a little below is the personal subconscious. When your stories are silent, when the mind starts becoming silent and the happening starts becoming visible, one can access to his or her personal subconscious. Your dreams come from personal subconscious. Your memories come from your personal subconscious. Your desires, your routines, your patterns, your personal patterns come from your personal subconscious. A little below from that, if you see your personal subconscious and realize you're arriving to the deeper secrets of your own life, you're arriving to all the shadows of your own life, you are also given a chance to witness the collective subconscious from where languages are produced, art forms are produced, expressions are produced, emotions are produced, and it is the exact phase or an exact stage where the Brahmanada is heard too. The ever-existing vibration and its sound is heard too. And it is in this collective subconscious that the body of light, or also known as Jyoti Swarup, is seen, is realized. And also that you are a part, an integral, an inseparable part of this existence. And the feeling of Aham Brahmasmi, or I am the universe, is also realized. And memories can go up to this moment. From few techniques being used by yogis all around the world is the meditation on memories. It is indeed possible to reach back to the day you were born. And even before that, there can be memories of you being in your mother's womb. And there can be memories even before that. Experiments from Ama Dolores Cannon proves significantly that there is something between death and life. Hence, she published a book with this title. There are deeper phenomena happening in this universe that a lot of us are unaware of. And it is because a lot of us live simply in the surface of the mind and in the wave of thoughts, and between every wave and even between the tsunamis in the mind, the depth is always calm. And the depth knows that the surface has turbulence, yet it is calm. And your witnessing to your subconscious, your witnessing to your collective subconscious gives you the permission to witness the entirety, or say, meditation has happened. Stories and memories go side by side. Your memory can take you back to the first moment of the entire experience. Gurus, masters, the knowers, the philosophers, the mystics believe that there is something even beyond, something even beyond the collective subconscious, even beyond your experience of you are universe. And yet, you are here and now. So the stories, no matter in what direction we look, no matter in which aspect of life we look, all of these are part of this constantly happening phenomenon we call existence or creation or universe or God. Whatever name we are able to give or think or not think, all exists simultaneously in this creation. Whatever thought comes in your mind is the thought indeed of this creation and has sprouted into this reality. Exactly like the bird that is around you, exactly like people around you, exactly like rivers, lands, valleys, clouds, exactly like the sky, like the moon, like the sun, like the entire creation. Your happening and your thought, their happening, is indeed part of this grand happening we call life. So you can dive in your stories as much as you can, and your mind will never stop unless it has arrived to its own understanding of universe, its own understanding of the existence. The question, who am I, leads you to this point. Your shadow work leads you to this point. Your mindfulness leads you to this point. Your responsibilities leads you to this point. You have your responsibility of understanding yourself. Generally, the tendency of mind is to flow outside. The consciousness can flow either outside or inside. The flow is constant. This flow is called Radha. The outside flow is called Dhara. So the flow towards the world, the mind wants to expand, to see, to experience. The act called Bhoga, or the feeding in of consciousness from external. So the mind wants to catch anyone's story, any story, from this world or not, from fiction or not, from poetry or not, from religion or not, from gossips or not, from politics or not. Whichever side you look in the life, the mind wants to gather stories. The mind wants to expand. It is the nature of the mind to expand. And exactly like outside, there is an inward expansion that happens once the journey inward starts, once the shadow work starts. The stories can be entirely personal, from your conscious daily lives, or your personal story can dive deeper into the collective, where you are an entity of a bigger entity called society, and even bigger entity called humanity, and even bigger entity called the earth. And the list goes on. Or you can see your inner journey and see that you are indeed the collective subconscious. You are indeed the source of all the creation. You are indeed the source of expression of all the emotions, of all the goodness and badness, of all the days and nights, of all the full moon and the new moon, of all the lives and the deaths, of all the existence and non-existence, of all the duality and beyond. You are an integral part of all of this. And therefore, some who realized said, "Thou art that," or Tattvamasi. Your stories finally will bring you to a point where you are indeed all your stories, be it good or bad, be it happy or sad. All your stories are indeed your stories, your personal stories, the stories that you will live, and the stories that you will indeed leave behind. There are infinite stories you have left in your life, beginning from your childhood. You have forgotten many of your stories. Some you have brought so close to your being that you are identified with them. The story of your name probably began some days after you were born. And even before that, you were. And when all your stories will be gone, still you will be. Some stories you extend all your life. Your name you extend all your life. Your major personalities you extend all your life. And yet, these are the grand stories that will be left behind anyway. So the practice of mindfulness is to consciously, for a while, with all your love and with all your bhava, with all your emotions, letting your stories drop, at least for a while. You will drop your stories while you sleep anyway. Dropping your stories consciously will bring you to the experience of here and now. So, realizing your stories can have a deeper journey within yourself, and that indeed means without yourself as well. And this is how the creation continues. There are various depths of stories you can tell, and various depths of stories that cannot be told. Yet, personally experienced, similar, likewise by everyone. Because deeper than all the stories, much closer than your being than all your stories, is the flame of light, is the flame of creation, is the flame of this happening. And there are some experiences even beyond the point where anything can be expressed. And this point is called, or let's say, gurus have called, the knowers have called, the seekers have called, the cosmic ego, or Brahma Ahankar. So indeed your journey is also from personal ego to the cosmic ego. Your mind starts from personal ego, from the name, and slowly it starts realizing the collective ego. Then you realize you are not only you, but also everyone else. You start seeing the collective phenomenon and realizing you are indeed a wheel of this collective phenomenon that is going on, an integral part of this phenomenon that is going on. It will bring you to the cosmic you, to the I am the universe you. And this is the cosmic ego. So ego entirely is not negative. Indeed, at this point, nothing is negative or positive, but the existence of both is equally seen, equally realized, equally accessed. Both sides of the stories are equally accessed. Your side and the side of this world are equally seen. Witnessing your stories can bring you to this point. And yet all of these are stories too. Within all the things that has been shared in the Satsang, there is an integral silence where language, as we know, drops, and yet the happening. When you realize, the moment you realize that you have lost the language, that you have lost the identity, that there is nothing but only the happening, know that meditation has happened. So there is the first step that the nature does by giving you birth and bringing you up to this point where the sustenance of life is at ease. And there is the second step, which is entirely up to you to be taken, where you start becoming aware of your own being, your own stories, your own patterns, your journey to Adhyatma, your journey to spirituality, your journey to self-actualization, your journey to emotional maturity, whatever name you can give it to this process. And the experience is yet beyond all these names. And if you find yourself at this point, know that universe has taken the third step for you. At this point, all the trouble of a sadhaka is the trouble of the existence. In other words, a sadhaka is the sadhana, is the dhyana. So dive into your stories as deep as you can. Become witness to the deeper experience of your life. And when there is a sudden darkness, calmly wait and see and realize that nothing is happening. Yet everything is happening in the surface of the mind. When you come across your deeper shadows, just become a witness with all your acceptance. Wait a while and watch at it and give your complete surrendering to all your experiences, for these experiences are also a part of this creation, of this absolutely fascinating grand creation. Your stories will take you to the outer worlds, and your stories will take you to the inner worlds. There are worlds outside and there are worlds inside. Soon you will also realize the pattern of stories and from where it comes. From the surface of the mind, the personal conscious, or the personal subconscious, or the collective subconscious, or the cosmic subconscious. And you can collectively choose which level you want to look your problem from. You are given free will for the first time, after being able to see your stories from all the levels, from man, from buddhi, from chitta, from ahankar, from the surface of the mind, from the collective, from the personal subconscious, from the collective subconscious or the cosmic subconscious. You are free to choose whichever vantage point you want to choose. At this point, your sufferings, your pains, your happiness, all can be a part of your surface or the cosmic subconscious. And the process from subconscious to the conscious goes on happening automatically. That as you become aware in your dream, you know it is the dream breaks. The personal subconscious has become the personal conscious. As you bring your vision into your shadow, the shadow starts turning into light. The shadow requires to have some light to be seen, which is why it is easier to see the shadows once you start diving within your stories. You will be given free will to choose the vantage point and experience the moment accordingly. In the surface, if there is tremendous amount of turbulence, you can choose to switch to your deeper reasons of having the turbulence, the roots of your suffering, the roots of your non-suffering, the root of your happiness, the root of your sadness. There are deeper roots, and you are given free will to stay at any root, any part, whichsoever you want, whenever you want. This is why I realized that Carl Jung realized things from this vantage point. Freud realized things from this vantage point. Gautam Buddha, Christ, Krishna, Muhammad, all the masters who ever existed, their vantage point can be accessed. In other words, you can have a personal experience of what Jesus means when he says, "Kingdom of heaven is within you." You can have an exact experience, a resonance with Muhammad when he said, "La ilaha illallah." You can experience the direction into which these words are pointing, into which these masters are pointing. And this is a natural process that happens to everyone who starts a journey within. And when you realize you are both good and evil, day and night, yin and yang, the male and female energy, the existence and non-existence, the one and zero, the universe and the zeroth, there is nothing but deeper peace, deeper silence, deeper witnessing of the witnessing itself. And this is beyond duality. This is the one who knows there is duality. In some moments in your life, you have reached to this point where you saw that there is the existence of duality. There always are moments when everyone is awake a little bit, is aware a little bit, and then the mind goes back to the stories again. So the journey is to collect bit by bit of tiny aware moments to realize where you have arrived in the stories and simply be there for a while. So when the stories, personal stories are known, the collective stories are known as well, and the collective pattern of something, some reoccurring, some repeating phenomenon in the biology, in the psychology, in the body, in the sharir, in the atman, in the soul. A certain knowing that happens in both sides. Leaving your body, leaving your mind, leaving your stories once in a while has profound effect in a human's life, which is why there is a growing attraction towards meditation. And there is also a fear that the mind will catch the word and catch the story called meditation. And while it is your journey, nobody can tell where you have arrived, how you are doing. Nobody will know. You will have to be aware of your own stories and use the free will to make your stories better. And once your stories are better, you are also naturally able to spread the bliss to the surrounding. Your bliss will spread the existential bliss to everyone else around you. When you don't have any stories, you can create stories. So only by witnessing your stories can you arrive to the free will. Otherwise, the surface of the mind repeats anything. Any story anyone says, anyone tells you, the mind starts capturing the story and repeating itself. And after a few days or a few weeks, those story tends to arrive in the surface of your mind as your own story. So the surface of the mind is very cloudy. It can be polluted by whatever one reads, whatever one sees, whatever one hears. But a little within, from the eyes of the one who knows these stories are happening, all of these are happening in the surface. And this is exactly what happens to everyone, everywhere. Which is why it is an archetypal thing. And therefore, Buddha says, everyone can be Buddha. Everyone is born a Buddha. That's why Yashua says, the heaven is all in your being, in what you are made up of, in where you are at the moment. Everything else is a bunch of stories. Some stories are short, tiny moments in the mind. Some stories are longer. Some extend all the life, and yet all the stories end. Yet the here and now continues. Let's take 10 long breaths together. And while you do, breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. One long deep breath in, 4 seconds holding or holding for a while and releasing. One more time, make your body as still as you can. Breathe in very slowly, hold for a while, and release. Thank you for being in this satsang. Thank you for being here and now. Thank you to your mind.